Okay, so now I've got my quadrants all mapped out, but I am feeling a little overwhelmed. That's a lot of information in some of those boxes. Now, one thing that you could choose to do is, just like we did in Art 1, you could do every inch and then do every 2 inches on this sheet, which your quadrant lines would be fine if you wanted to do that. But if this to you was like, I just hated that, I hated doing every inch box, they weren't helpful, then don't. But if this was really helpful to you to make sure that your scale was correct, go ahead and this would be every 1 inch and the big sheet would be every 2 inch. But if you are looking to maybe just divide, like for this image, I would want this square to be divided up at least in half. And maybe even this square as well, because it's got Maisie's information and I kind of want to see where her nose is. So I'm going to go ahead and in my top 2 quadrants, I'm going to show you how to divide that equally. And again, if that makes sense, don't bother with the video. All right. So first I'm gonna just measure and make sure, okay, it's 4, and I'm just gonna use real simple math to keep it easy. And I'm gonna go ahead and just make this quadrant into its own little quadrant. So I'm gonna go ahead and measure at 2, and down here, measure at 2. Oops, shouldn't be drawing on my big sheet of paper. All right, and then go ahead and draw that line. And then I'm going to have it again. So this is 5, little trickier. So half of 5 is 2.5. So remember that the 2.5 is the longest line between 2 and 3. And I'll mark that. Oopsie, sorry. And again, from image to the line, and then 2.5. And then I'll draw that across. Okay. And now that shows me that Maisie is a little bit on top and a little bit on bottom, and then I'll do the same thing over here. And then I'm gonna also do this box, but I'm gonna go ahead and move to the big sheet if this is all you need to do. And then so if all you need to do is do the top quadrant, make sure that your paper is facing the same orientation before you draw it. Sometimes we just get caught up in doing. So if it's portrait style and this is quadrant 1, this is quadrant 2, this would be quadrant 1 and quadrant 2. So remember, we're gonna go nice and light on this sheet. So half of 8, which is what my margin to my center should be, is 4. So I'm gonna lightly mark 4. I'll do that a few times. And then flip my ruler. And lightly draw this. Remember to have your hand towards the back of your pencil to get a lighter line. And then lengthwise it's 10, so I'm going to mark 5 and 5. And so this way, I know I'm up by 2, but spatially it's the same. So when I start to draw Maisie here, I know that she's gonna fit in a little bit up here, and I can even, I'll show you a way to kind of measure that with a note card if you want, and then also bottom here. Now if that's all you need, great.